Joy sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone screen. She had been checking the NYSC portal for weeks, waiting for her call-up letter. Her heart pounded as she refreshed the page again, hands trembling slightly. And then, the words appeared. "Congratulations. You have been deployed to Zanzibar State." Her mouth went dry. She had never heard of that place before. Where was Zanzibar? Her mind raced as she pulled up Google Maps, typing in the name. The results showed a distant, unfamiliar land in the far north. She had dreamed of serving somewhere lively like Lagos, Abuja, or even Enugu, close to home. But this? It was completely unknown to her. Her mother, Mama Joy, walked in, wiping her hands on a kitchen towel. "My daughter, what is it? Did you see your posting?" Joy hesitated before nodding. "Mama, I got Zanzibar State." Mama Joy's face fell. "Zanzibar? Where is that?" "Up north, Mama. Very far." Her mother sighed and sat beside her. "Joy, my daughter, are you sure you want to go? Some of your friends redeployed to another state when they were posted far. You can do the same." Joy looked away, pain flashing through her eyes. She had already missed out on serving with her friends. They had left months ago while she was still struggling with an issue in school. Due to a missing script in one of her final year courses, her results had been delayed. She had cried, pleaded, and fought hard to resolve it. By the time the issue was finally sorted out, her friends had already gone ahead to camp, leaving her behind. She had imagined serving with them, sharing hostel rooms, and laughing through the struggles of NYSC. But now, that dream was gone. She would be going alone. Mama Joy placed a warm hand on her shoulder. "You know your father will not like this. He has always been worried about sending you far away." Joy swallowed. "Mama, I don't want to redeploy. Maybe this is my destiny. Maybe I need to see the world outside our home." Her mother shook her head. "Joy, serving in NYSC is not about enjoyment. It is suffering in disguise. Hunger, stress, strange people. Are you ready for that?" A lump formed in Joy's throat. "I don't know, Mama. But I will try." Just then, the front door creaked open, and her younger brother, Emma, strolled in, holding a sachet of pure water. "Joy, have you checked your posting? Where did they send you?" "Zanzibar State," she muttered. Emma burst into laughter. "Oh, you are finished. That place is inside the bush. Better find a way to change it." Mama Joy shot him a warning look. "Emma, stop it." Joy sighed and leaned against her mother. Deep inside, she was scared. But she had already made up her mind. No matter what, she would go. Little did she know that this journey would change her life forever. The morning of her departure came faster than she had expected. Joy stood outside their small house, with a worn-out traveling bag beside her. Her mother was fussing over her, checking and rechecking her things. Her father, Chief Okafor, stood a few feet away, arms folded, a deep frown on his face. "Joy, are you sure about this?" he asked, his voice low but firm. "Yes, Papa," she answered, even though her heart was hammering inside her chest. Her father sighed heavily. "Take care of yourself. And if anything happens, call immediately. Don't be stubborn. Joy nodded, stepping forward to hug him. I will be fine, Papa. As she boarded the bus at the park, a wave of loneliness hit her. She looked around at the other corps members, most of whom were chatting excitedly in groups. They had come with their friends. She had come alone. The journey was long, stretching for hours. The roads became narrower, and the towns more scattered. The bus bumped along the rough road as night fell, and Joy pressed her face against the window, staring at the dark surroundings. She had been on the road for nearly a whole day, stopping only at different checkpoints and for passengers to stretch their legs. Her body ached from sitting too long, and her stomach grumbled, but she ignored it. By the time they reached Zanzugu NYSC orientation camp, it was almost midnight. The place looked nothing like she had imagined. The entrance was crowded with tired-looking corps members dragging their bags, waiting to be registered. The camp officials, dressed in khaki uniforms, shouted orders at them. Joy stepped out of the bus, her legs weak from the journey. She adjusted her bag on her shoulder and joined the long queue. Some corps members were already complaining. This place is too dry, one girl groaned. No proper lights, no good roads, nothing. Another guy beside her added, I beg, I must redeploy. This place is not for me. Joy sighed and moved forward in the queue. After what felt like forever, she got to the registration point. A tired-looking official glanced at her call-up letter and waved her inside. Next. Dragging her bag behind her, she found her way to the female hostel. It was a large hall with metal bunk beds lined up in rows. The air smelled of dust and sweat. Some girls were already lying on their beds, while others were still unpacking. Joy picked an empty lower bunk and sat down heavily. She was exhausted. Hi, a voice said beside her. She turned and saw a fair-skinned girl smiling at her. I'm Becky. You just arrived. Yes, Joy replied, forcing a smile. Oh, you missed a lot. The camp is stressful, oh. And most people are already planning to redeploy. Have you thought about it? Joy frowned. Redeploy? No. I want to stay. Becky laughed. You are joking. Do you know where you are? Zanzugu is like the middle of nowhere. Everyone is running away. Some have even written fake medical reports just to leave. Joy shook her head. That's cheating. I can't do that. I have already decided to serve my country, no matter where they post me. Becky stared at her in surprise. You must be very strong. Me, I can't suffer like this. First thing tomorrow, I'm applying for redeployment. Joy said nothing. Deep down, she was scared. But she had made up her mind. No matter what happened, she would stay and complete her service in Zanzugu. She had no idea what awaited her. The next morning, Joy woke up to the sound of a loud bugle blasting through the camp. She sat up quickly, confused. Around her, girls were jumping out of bed, rushing to get ready. Becky groaned and pulled her blanket over her head. Wake up, someone shouted. If you miss the parade, you'll be punished. Joy rubbed her eyes. She had barely slept, and now she had to hurry. She quickly freshened up, wore her white NYSC shirt and shorts, and joined the crowd heading toward the parade ground. The morning air was chilly, and the sky was still dark. At the parade ground, a soldier with a thick voice barked at them, "Line up. Stand straight." Joy stood among the other corps members, shivering slightly. Some looked tired, others looked irritated. Becky, who stood beside her, whispered, "See my life. I didn't sign up for this kind of stress." The soldiers started the morning drills. "Raise your knees. Higher. You are not serious. This is NYSC, not your father's house." Joy pushed herself to follow the commands. Sweat dripped down her forehead as they ran laps around the field. Some people slowed down, panting. Others sneaked out of the line when the soldiers were not looking. After what felt like hours, they were finally allowed to rest. Joy collapsed onto a wooden bench, breathing hard. "You still don't want to redeploy?" Becky asked, sipping a sachet of water. Joy shook her head. "No. I already decided to stay." "Okay, Becky sighed. "Just know that life in this place will not be easy." Throughout the day, they went from one activity to another: registration, lectures, and more drilling. Joy barely had time to eat, and when she finally got to the camp kitchen, the food was almost finished. She stared at her plate of watery beans and tiny bread, sighing. "Welcome to NYSC suffering," a guy behind her said, laughing. That night, as she lay on her bed, her body sore and her stomach still half empty, she wondered if she had made the right decision. But something inside her whispered, "Keep going." And so, she did. The camp life continued, full of stress and surprises. Some corps members managed to get their relocation approved, and they left happily. Others were still trying. Every day, Joy overheard different excuses that some corps members give to NYSC coordinators. The other day, Joy overheard a corps member telling the NYSC coordinator, "I have asthma, and I have a serious back problem and would like to go stay with my parents in Lagos. I need to be close to them." Some even bribed officials to make their relocation easy. Joy refused to be part of it. Even though camp was hard, even though she missed home, she still wanted to complete her service in Zanzibar. The next morning, the bugle blasted again before dawn. Joy groaned as she rolled off her bed, her body aching from the drills of the previous day. She forced herself to get ready, wearing her white shirt, shorts, and sneakers. Becky was still lying down, pretending to be sick. "Becky, get up," Joy said, shaking her gently. "Leave me," Becky groaned. "I can't do this anymore. My legs are on strike." Joy laughed. "If they catch you skipping morning parade, wole go day." Becky hissed. "I don't care." Joy grabbed her water bottle and hurried out. The parade ground was already filled with corps members standing in straight lines. Soldiers walked up and down, shouting instructions. "Corpers, stand well," one soldier barked. "If you fall down, we will carry you like firewood." Joy held back a laugh as she stood at attention. The morning drills began: marching, jogging, and endless frog jumps. Some people fell on the ground, panting, while others tried to sneak out but were caught. "Corper, where do you think you are going?" A soldier grabbed one guy by the collar. "Sir, I want to use the toilet, the guy stammered. Toilet? You are running away. Go and do 20 push-ups. Everyone laughed as the poor guy dropped to the ground and started pushing up. After the parade, they rushed to the kitchen for breakfast. The line was long, and people pushed and shouted. I was here before you, Emaseram, shift. Oh. See the food done finish. Oh. By the time Joy got to the front, all she got was a small plate of rice with watery stew. She sighed and carried her food to a wooden bench. This camp is suffering, Becky complained, sitting beside her. At least we have food, Joy said, taking a bite. Becky made a face. You call this food? One day, they had a special activity called the Man-O-War drill. It was a series of obstacles that every corps member had to pass through in an orientation camp, like climbing ropes, jumping over walls, and crawling under nets. Joy stared at the high wooden wall in front of her. Her heart pounded. Could she climb it? A soldier clapped his hands. If you fear, you fail. One by one, corps members climbed. Some made it to the top. Others fell halfway. When it was Joy's turn, she took a deep breath and grabbed the rope. Her arms ached as she pulled herself up, her legs struggling for balance. Go, Joy. You can do it, someone shouted. She gritted her teeth and climbed higher. Sweat dripped down her face. Just when she thought she would fall, she reached the top. Yes, she shouted, raising her hand. People clapped as she jumped down. Becky ran to hug her. You are a superhero. Joy laughed, feeling proud of herself. One night, while they were deep in sleep, a loud whistle woke them up. Emergency. Everybody, come outside. People jumped off their beds in panic. Some girls screamed. Becky almost fell as she grabbed her slippers. Joy's heart raced. What's happening? They all ran outside in their nightwear, the cold air making them shiver. A soldier stood at the front, laughing. It was just a test. We wanted to see how fast you can run. People groaned. Becky grabbed Joy's arm. I almost died for nothing. Joy laughed, shaking her head. This camp was truly something else. Days passed, and Joy got used to the routine, morning drills, lectures, bad food, and struggling for water in the overcrowded bathrooms. One evening, after another stressful day, she sat on a bench near the hostel, enjoying the cool breeze. That was when she heard voices behind the building. Are you sure this will work? A deep voice whispered. Yes. We just need to leave at midnight, another voice said. If we don't go now, they will never let us redeploy. Joy froze. What are they planning? She listened carefully, her heart pounding. She had no idea that she was about to uncover something dangerous. The days in camp passed quickly. The stress, the hunger, the long queues for food and water, it all became part of their daily lives. But finally, the camp was coming to an end. Everyone was excited. One afternoon, Becky ran into the hostel, jumping up and down. Joy! Joy! My relocation letter is out. Joy looked up from her bed. Really? Where are they posting you now? Lagos. Becky screamed, hugging Joy tightly. I am free. No more suffering. No more Zanzugu. Joy forced a smile. I'm happy for you. Come on, Joy, just apply, Becky pleaded. You don't have to stay here. Joy shook her head. I already made up my mind. I will stay and serve here. Becky sighed. You are too stubborn. That night, as Becky packed her bags, Joy felt a little lonely. Most of the people she had become close to were leaving. But she reminded herself why she stayed. She wanted to serve her country the right way. The last day of camp arrived, the passing out parade. Everyone dressed in their full NYSC khaki uniform. The parade ground was filled with excitement. People laughed, took pictures, and talked about their new postings. A soldier stepped forward with a pile of white envelopes. Beloved Corps members, your posting letters are here. Joy's heart pounded as she joined the line. When it was her turn, she took her letter with shaky hands. Slowly, she opened it. Her eyes widened. She had been posted to Jaidenwuta, a small remote village deep inside Zanzugu State. She turned to the person next to her. Where is this place? The girl beside her gasped. Oh. You are finished. That place is in the middle of nowhere. Joy's hands trembled. Was this a mistake? Others around her read their letters. Some screamed in joy because they were posted to the city. Others frowned because they were sent to unknown villages. Someone whispered, those who refused to relocate got the worst places. Joy felt her heart sink, but she reminded herself she had chosen to stay. Early the next morning, Joy and a group of other Corps members boarded an old, rusty bus. The driver, an old man with missing teeth, grinned. You people are going to Jaidenwuta. Oh, may God be with you. The road was rough. The further they went, the worse it became. At one point, they had to get down and push the bus out of the mud. Dust covered their faces. I can't believe this, one guy groaned. I should have relocated back there in camp. Joy stayed quiet, holding on to her bag tightly. She knew the journey would not be easy, but she was determined. Suddenly, the bus stopped in the middle of nowhere. The driver stepped down, scratching his head. What happened? Someone asked. The driver sighed. The fuel is finished. Everybody groaned. So what do we do now? A girl asked. The driver pointed down the road. There is a village not too far. We can get fuel there. With no other choice, the Corps members came down from the bus and sat down under a tree shade beside the road while the driver ran off with a little gallon to buy fuel from a nearby village. The sun was hot, and the road was lonely. There were no houses, no people, just dry land and trees. Joy wiped the sweat from her forehead. This is just the beginning, she whispered to herself. The rusty bus groaned and rattled as it moved along the lonely, dusty road. Joy sat by the window, staring outside. The land stretched far and wide, dry and empty. The trees looked tired, and the sun burned brightly in the sky. Most of the Corps members inside the bus were quiet. The excitement from camp had faded. Now, reality was setting in. The driver, an old man with a rough voice, hummed a song as he drove. Every few minutes, he would cough loudly and spit out of the window. Driver, are we close? A guy at the back asked. The driver laughed. Close. My friend, we never even reach halfway. A girl groaned. I regret not relocating back then in camp, and it was even for free. Joy adjusted her NYSC cap and held her bag tightly. She had chosen this path. No turning back now. The road became bumpier. The bus jumped and shook like it would fall apart. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. The bus swerved dangerously before the driver struggled to stop it. What happened? Someone shouted. The driver stepped down, looked at the back wheel, and sighed. Tire done burst. People groaned. Some got out of the bus, stretching their stiff legs. How long will it take to fix? Joy asked. The driver scratched his head. I no get extra tire. We go wait for another vehicle to pass. Joy looked around. The road was empty. No houses, no cars, nothing, just dry land and the sound of the wind. Wait, a guy repeated. For how long? The driver shrugged. Maybe 1 hour. Maybe 5. People gasped. 5 hours. One girl, Azara, clapped her hands in frustration. God, why did I not relocate back to my state? Another guy turned, shook his head. We should have taken a flight. The driver ignored them, found a tree, and sat down to rest. Joy sighed and sat on a rock beside the road. This is just the beginning, she told herself. An hour passed. Then 2. The sun became hotter, and their water finished. I'm thirsty, Becky whispered. I can't take this heat. Others complained too. Some fanned themselves with pieces of paper. Others sat under a tree, trying to avoid the sun. Joy's stomach rumbled. She had eaten a small piece of bread in the morning, and now she was starving. Driver, are you sure another vehicle will pass? Someone asked. The driver opened one eye. We dey pray. Pray, a guy snapped. This man wants us to die here. Joy tried to stay calm, but inside, she was worried. What if no one came? What if they were stuck here tonight? Just when everyone was about to lose hope, an old woman appeared from the bush, balancing a pot on her head. People gasped. Where did she come from? Becky whispered. The woman walked past them slowly. Her wrapper was tied tightly around her chest, and her feet were covered in dust. Joy quickly stood up. Mama, please. Do you know where we can get water? The woman stopped and looked at her. Her eyes were small, like she had seen many things in life. She pointed down the road. There is a small stream, not far from here. How far? Someone asked. The woman smiled. If you are strong, you will reach. If you are weak, you will fall. Everyone looked at each other in confusion. What does she mean? Azara whispered. The woman didn't say more. She turned and walked away, disappearing into the bush. That was strange, Becky murmured. Joy wiped sweat from her forehead. Strange or not, I'm going to find that stream. A group of core members, including Joy and Azara, decided to follow the direction the woman had pointed. The road was dusty, and their legs felt heavy, but the thought of water kept them going. Are we sure this is safe? Azara asked, looking around. What if we meet wild animals? Ton laughed weakly. At this point, I'll fight any animal if it means getting water. They walked for what felt like forever. Joy's throat was dry. Becky was already dragging her feet. Suddenly, they heard the sound of water. Did you hear that? Joy gasped. They ran forward and saw a small, clear stream flowing between rocks. Water, someone screamed. People rushed forward, scooping water with their hands, drinking like they had never drunk before. Becky splashed water on her face. Oh my God! This is heaven. Joy knelt down and drank deeply. The water was cool and fresh. She sighed in relief. This saved us, she whispered. After drinking their fill, they filled their bottles and hurried back to the others. When they reached the bus, they shared the water. Everyone drank gratefully. Thank God for that old woman, Becky said. But who was she? Joy wondered. Nobody had an answer. Just as the sun began to set, a big truck appeared in the distance. People jumped up, waving their hands. The truck stopped beside them. The driver, a middle-aged man, looked down at them. You people are stranded, he asked. Yes. Please, help us, the NYSC driver pleaded. The truck driver looked at their broken-down bus and shook his head. This your bus no fit move again. But I can carry you people to Jidon Water. People cheered. Thank you, sir. They quickly grabbed their bags and climbed into the back of the truck. It was not comfortable, but at least they were moving again. As they drove deeper into the unknown land, Joy watched the darkening sky. She thought about everything that had happened. The long journey. The hunger. The mysterious old woman. And something inside her whispered, this is just the beginning. Little did she know, the real challenges in Jidon Water were far worse than anything she had ever imagined.